There is a love story in Hindu mythology that ended in fire, and the fire that consumed the woman nearly consumed the entire universe along with her. Because when Sati died, Shiva went insane. And when Shiva goes insane, reality itself starts to unravel. This is the story of Shiva and Sati, the first wife, the original love, the one before Parvati. And it is the most devastating love story I have ever encountered in any tradition, any culture, any scripture. Let me take you back. Sati was the daughter of Daksha, one of the Prajapatis, the progenitors of creation. Daksha was powerful, respected, and enormously proud. He was essentially cosmic royalty, and his daughter, the beautiful, brilliant, devoted Sati, did the one thing that destroyed him. She fell in love with Shiva. Now you have to understand how Daksha saw Shiva. Daksha was a civilized man, a man of rituals, order, hierarchy, clean robes, and proper conduct. And Shiva? Shiva smears himself in cremation ash. He wears animal skins. He lives in cremation grounds surrounded by ghosts, goblins, and serpents. His hair is matted and wild. He dances in graveyards. He smokes intoxicants. He has no palace, no army, no wealth, no social standing. By every metric that Daksha valued, Shiva was the worst possible son-in-law, a homeless, ash-covered madman who hangs out with the dead. But Sati loved him. Not despite those things. She loved who he actually was. She saw past the surface and recognized the supreme consciousness underneath. She performed intense austerities, years of meditation and penance, to win Shiva as her husband. And eventually, Shiva accepted. They married. And their marriage was beautiful. Genuinely, cosmically beautiful. Sati would sit with Shiva on Mount Kailash, and he would explain the mysteries of the universe to her. He would teach her the secrets of consciousness, of yoga, of reality itself. They were inseparable. But Daksha never accepted it. His hatred for Shiva grew and festered. And one day, Daksha decided to perform a massive yajna, a fire sacrifice, to which he invited every god, every sage, every celestial being in existence, except Shiva. He deliberately, publicly excluded Shiva. It was not an oversight, it was an insult. A calculated, humiliating public declaration that Shiva was not worthy of being in the company of gods. Sati found out about the yajna and wanted to go. Shiva told her not to. He said, "Where one is not invited, one should not go. It does not matter that your father is hosting it. An uninvited guest has no honor there." But Sati was torn. This was her father, her family. She had not seen them since her marriage. She believed, perhaps naively, that if she showed up, her father would soften. He would see her and remember that she was his daughter. Blood would triumph over ego. So she went, against Shiva's advice, alone. And what happened next broke everything. When Sati arrived at the yajna, Daksha did not soften. He did not embrace her. Instead, in front of the entire assembled court of gods and sages, he began to publicly insult Shiva. He called Shiva a beggar, a filthy ascetic, a haunter of cremation grounds unfit for civilized company. He mocked Shiva's appearance, his companions, his lifestyle. He said that Sati had shamed the family by marrying such a creature. And he said it to her face, in front of everyone. Sati stood there and listened. She looked around the room for support. The other gods avoided her eyes. Nobody spoke up. Nobody defended Shiva or defended her choice. The silence of that room, the cowardice of gods who knew Daksha was wrong but were too afraid of his power to say so, broke something inside Sati. And she made a decision that would shatter the cosmos. She said, "Father, you have insulted my husband. You have insulted the supreme Lord of the universe. I was born from your body, and I am ashamed of that connection. The only way to sever it is to destroy this body that came from you. I will not carry your blood for one more moment." and she walked into the sacred fire of the yajna. She immolated herself, right there, in front of everyone. The fire consumed her. She died standing in the flames, and her last words were Shiva's name. When the news reached Shiva, what happened next is the most terrifying sequence in Hindu mythology. Shiva stood up, and his grief transformed into something beyond rage. It was cosmic dissolution personified. He tore a lock from his matted hair and threw it to the ground. From that lock arose Virabhadra, a warrior so terrible that the texts describe him as having 1,000 arms, eyes of fire, and a roar that shook the foundations of reality. Shiva sent Virabhadra to Daksha's yajna with a single instruction: destroy it. Virabhadra descended on the ceremony like a storm. He scattered the gods. He broke the sacred fire. He destroyed the offerings. He ripped through Daksha's army. And then he found Daksha, and he cut off his head. The great Prajapati, beheaded by the manifestation of Shiva's grief. But Shiva's pain was not satisfied by destruction. He went to the remains of the yajna, found Sati's body, and lifted it onto his shoulders. And then he began to dance. The Tandava, the dance of destruction. But this was not the cosmic Tandava that dissolves the universe at the end of time. This was a grief Tandava, a dance of unbearable, howling, universe-shaking sorrow. And as Shiva danced across the earth with his dead wife on his shoulders, the world began to crack. Mountains crumbled, oceans churned, the earth trembled. The axis of the world began to tilt, because Shiva's grief had no limit. And limitless grief from the Supreme Consciousness means limitless destruction. Vishnu intervened. He used his Sudarshana chakra to cut Sati's body into pieces as Shiva carried it, so that the body would gradually leave his shoulders and his grief would slowly diminish. The pieces of Sati's body fell at 51 locations across the Indian subcontinent. Each of those locations became a Shakti Pita, a sacred site of feminine divine power. They exist to this day. And Shiva? Shiva retreated to the highest peak of the Himalayas and went into the deepest meditation of his existence. For thousands of years he sat alone, frozen, silent, refusing to engage with the world that had taken his wife from him. Until Parvati came. But that is another story. This story is about the price of pride. Daksha's pride cost him his daughter, his head, his yajna, nearly the universe itself. And it taught the gods a lesson they never forgot. You do not insult Shiva. Not because Shiva is proud. Shiva does not care what you think of him. But the people who love Shiva, they will burn the world down for him, even themselves.